The House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party has unveiled results from its investigations into the illegal California biolab.
The lab was found in the small town of Riddley in December last year. The committee on the CCP's report comes after a friendly subpoena to local officials who came back with thousands of pages of documents and evidence. NTD's Jeremy Sandberg has more on the report.
City officials in Ridley found around 1,000 transgenic mice, dangerous chemicals, and thousands of vials with biological substances in them at the illegal California biolab last year. Biolab workers said the mice were genetically engineered to catch and carry the COVID-19 virus. After 9 months of city officials sounding the alarm, the FBI declined to investigate and the CDC refused to act. City officials turned to their local representative, Congressman Jim Costa, for help. Costa told NTD there's some lessons to be learned from the example.
We see how easy to transport infectious diseases around the world is.
Costa says he thinks the U.S. is very conscious of the challenges of COVID and concerned about how it's spread.
And so when they talk about cooperation, clearly business people attempting to bring money from offshore to invest in private labs that particularly could compromise public safety is something that should never, ever be allowed.
The Democratic congressman says he's on board to get legislation and protocols in place to provide protection. After Costa convinced the CDC to visit the unlicensed lab, they identified, based on labeling alone, at least 20 potentially infectious agents, including the coronavirus, HIV, malaria, hepatitis, and herpes. But according to the report, the CDC refused to test samples after repeated requests, even when the city offered to pay for it. Chairman of the Select Committee on the CCP, Mike Gallagher, says there needs to be some appropriate tripwires in place. The report says city officials found a freezer labeled Ebola that the CDC did not, with sealed bags inside. The deadly disease has a 25 to 90% lethality rate. When asked by email, the CDC said the bags did not merit testing unless labeled Ebola themselves. The Public Health Agency concluded there was no evidence of select agents or toxins and had a court order state and local authorities to destroy all materials. Democratic ranking member Raja Krishnamurthy says he's glad the report has established some facts, but that more tools are needed to stop it from happening in the first place, and that currently anybody, including fugitives, fraudsters, and terrorists, can buy dangerous pathogens online with little vetting.
You need an identification, a driver's license to get Sudafed in any local pharmacy, but you don't need even that to get Ebola online.
The investigation revealed connections between the lab's owner and the CCP that include an ongoing criminal enterprise and large unexplained money transfers from Chinese bank accounts.
The individual in question was a criminal with a long criminal record with dubious ties to the PRC. This was a massive problem, and we're hoping this will spur productive legislative action going forward to prevent this from happening again.
The lab owner, Jaibe Jesse Zhu, was hit with a $330 million Canadian court judgment for IP theft in 2016. The fugitive was a former corporate officer in the CCP's military civil fusion organization. The committee established the companies that set up the lab are tied to Chinese companies and nationals. Congressman Gallagher says he hopes future hearings will produce a bipartisan agenda for steps Congress can take to prevent anything like the Ridley biolab from happening again. Jeremy Sandberg, NTD News.